very good evening and welcome to BCN News. New Zealand's Ministry of Health has confirmed a fourth case of coronavirus COVID-19. Radio New Zealand reports today's positive result was for a New Zealand citizen in his 30s, the partner of the second case announced earlier this week. The Auckland couple had recently arrived back in the country from northern Italy. Contact tracing is underway and close contacts are already in self-isolation. New Zealand health officials are promising to reveal soon how many people may have come into contact with the Auckland's coronavirus patients. Globally, there have been more than 95,000 confirmed cases and almost 3,300 deaths, according to the World Health Organization. Scientists in China studying the outbreak say they have found that two main strains of the virus are circulating in humans and causing infections. The International Monetary Fund has announced 80 billion New Zealand dollars in funding for affected countries. Meanwhile, Niue's health department has a range of preparedness activities in place. Sustainable and responsible tourism are some of the key vision of villages for Niue's tourism development. This has been highlighted by Niue's tourism consultants, Tourism Recreation Conservation or TRC, who have been working together for the last 5 years on developing responsible tourism policies. Currently, consultations are being held with villages as part of developing Niue tourism strategy for the next 5 to 10 years. Avesele, Hakupu and Mutalau are the latest villages to be consulted in workshops held so far by Niue Tourism. The shared visions are that visitors to Niue are respectful of the environment and Niue's culture. The consultants, TRC, have already engaged villages in the past few years on what their vision is for Niue's tourism. The current consultations are to check if villages still have the same vision and engage them in discussions on ways to move forward.
The vision hasn't changed. People are really comfortable with it. And I think it's very much about sustainable tourism and responsible tourism. So conservation of culture, conservation of the environment, marine and land-based environment being absolutely critical, and ensuring that the sorts of visitors that are encouraged to come to the island through what's on offer are the kind of people who are respectful of culture and environment and actually want to understand and learn about Niue and Niueans and stories. So still very strong support for that vision.
The Tourism Recreation Conservation also works with other Pacific Island countries.
Niue is a much smaller destination and it attracts a different type of visitor because of the type of experience that's on offer. It's a lower key, simpler type of tourism than parts of those other destinations. And what's really important is that that message gets out about what the visitor will find when they get here, because that's how you encourage the right type of visitor to respect your Niuean culture and the beautiful environment that's so precious to the country. One of the challenges is that there's not a big population and employment, so employment in the tourism industry, having enough people that want to actually further develop tourism, although it's small scale, you still need Niuean people to be engaged so that there are authentic Niuean experiences within the country.
More awareness is needed to empower Niueans to manage their marine resources sustainably. This is a gap that has been identified by local stakeholders together with SPC officials in the Reach the Reef workshop held earlier this week at Matavai Resort. The SPC Community-Based Fisheries Management Officer, Watisoni Lalavanua, told BCN News they are here to understand what work has been done on the Reach the Reef project and where they can assist. Based on discussions, he says SPC can assist in the gap of information and outreach, tailor-made for the local communities, which will help in making informed decisions on how they manage their coastal fisheries resources.
For the PIMP program, it's important because we are targeting the Pacific Island countries, and for Niue to as part of the Pacific Island countries that are targeted for this program. This helps them on coastal fisheries is an important fisheries in the Pacific, because a lot of community peoples relies on coastal fisheries in with 60 and 90% of the protein coming, it's coming from fisheries. And for the project to come in, it helps them how to better sustainably manage and sustainably utilize those resources, so that it continues to support them. So from the project perspective, it's how the people of Niue are being assisted, are being empowered to manage their resources sustainably, so that the current generations continue to utilize the resources, the future generation continue to utilize the resources based on what information and what other things that they have put together for these fisheries.
SPC's Information and Outreach Officer for the PUMP project, Celine Moron, added, "Currently, there is a lack of access to information in the appropriate format for the vast majority of coastal communities in the Pacific. Under the project, SPC finds information strategies to reach coastal communities in order to raise awareness on the sustainable use of marine resources, to explain how communities could take action to contribute to sustain marine resources."
We discussed during the workshop with the different stakeholders. We have heard community testimonies as well. And as far as I have understood, there is a need to produce more information tools to reach communities on the sustainable use of marine resources. For instance, I have understood that the Reach to Reef project will establish learning centers. So in this place we could contribute to produce short animated videos or posters related to sustainable fishing practices, related to solutions and traditional knowledge. Also, we could create tailor-made information tools. What about a radio show, because entertainment is really a good way to raise awareness. So maybe create, a drama at radio for people to understand the main issues and for communities to understand how to take action.
She says this is an inception workshop and she will return later to continue the project implementation. A memorial to mark the contribution of the Pacific Islands' friendship with New Zealand in the first two world wars and later conflicts will be unveiled on 18 April 2020 at the Pukehahu National War Memorial Park in Wellington. The Pacific Islands War Memorial represents New Zealand's enduring friendship with the Pacific Islands and the service of Pacific Islanders who fought for New Zealand in the two world wars and later conflicts. Niue sent 150 men to join the New Zealand Maori Battalion in World War I. The design depicts a bronze conch shell, a symbol deeply rooted in Pacific cultures, which will have a patina finish with remembrance poppies. The winning design was unveiled in October 2018 by Associate Minister Arts, Culture and Heritage Kamal Seploni and His Excellency Fisa Pihingia, High Commissioner for Niue, who chaired the design judging panel. A Maori stone ceremony was also conducted, which saw stones from the Pacific Islands and New Zealand placed beneath what will be the foundations of the memorial. The Pacific Islands Memorial is a joint initiative by the Ministry for Culture and Heritage, the Ministry for Pacific People, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, with support from the New Zealand Institute of Architects. And finally, the Avasele winch has been reinstated. In a statement, the Ministry of Infrastructure acknowledged outside services, the Fisheries Division and Niue Power Corporation for this important work. The ministry stated it is also grateful to the Avasele Ekalesia and village who have approved the parking of vehicles and trailers on the seaward side of the village green until the wharf access is back to normal. Meanwhile, another voyage will arrive in Niue at 9 tomorrow morning and there will be restricted boat access using the wharf. This is to limit vehicles going down to the wharf to enable the concrete work to cure properly. Due to the limited parking space, no parking will be allowed at the wharf until further notice. When the voyage arrives tomorrow, the wharf will be closed to the public to ensure safe and efficient port operations. And that's BCN News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Do have a safe weekend.